I ran over and I dug his head out of the snow. She ran over to his body. I said, "Oh my God." And she lifted up his shirt and started to lay on him.
Welcome to my channel. This is going to be a video of the story of Karen Reed and Officer John O'Keefe. And in this, I am going to correct some of the mistakes in my previous videos. So we're going to start at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Karen exits the bar and grill first. John O'Keefe takes a drink of beer, sets it down on the counter, picks up a clear glass, takes a sip of that, walks out to the exit of the Waterfall Bar and Grill. It's approximately 21 degrees out, or no, it's 30, I guess. It's 28, something like that. Winds gusting to 21 miles an hour. They walk down Washington Street. They get in their car, start it up, and they head to 34 Fairview. On their way to 34 Fairview, they have a few missed turns and have to correct that. They finally turn off, I guess it's Cedar Crest, onto Fairview. Prior to going up to Fairview, Brian Higgins has already parked by the mailbox by the driveway. He has parked a Jeep with a plow on it, and that plow is in the up position, angled to the house to make it narrower for the road, even though he stated it was down and straight. Because he was parked on the road, the most logical is up and angled. So when Karen Reed pulls in front of the Jeep, she bumps the passenger side tail light against the plow, and the curve of the plow allows it to just strike the light and possibly the bumper without touching anything else. The light has a scratch on it, and you can see at the very corner where she turned in, there's a metal piece that got jammed. That drops the taillight pieces 2/3 into the road, and the taillight has LED lights, so they're still red, so it doesn't register in people's mind that the taillight is broken because they're not white lights. She pulls in front of the Jeep next to the curb. At this point, Jen McCabe gets up and looks out the window and sees her in front of the Jeep. Karen Reed sees Julie Nagel's brother and friends pull up, so she pulls forward to let them pull in front of the Jeep in between them. They text that they're there, and Julie Nagel comes out. It's not 5 minutes like they said. It's very cold out. The wind is blowing, possibly 45 seconds. And it's, no, I don't want, I'm staying. Okay, good for you. They watch her go back in the house. Ricky pulls out to go past. Jen McCabe sees her pull forward to let Ricky pull in behind. So Ricky pulls out. The people in the vehicle, Ricky and the Nagel brother and Heather Maxim, see the light is on in the Lexus as they're going by. Remember, this is just a brief second. John O'Keefe has opened a door and he's getting out of the vehicle. He is around 6'2". The vehicle is 6'5". There's no way they would see through the vehicle and see him on the other side. They drive off as he closes the door. He walks up the sidewalk by the Jeep into the driveway. His health data states that he walked 80 steps in approximately 200 feet. The Lexus is about 60 feet. The passenger side door is about 60 feet down the road because of the vehicles have forced him down the road. So he walks 60 feet approximately up to the driveway. He walks 50 feet into the driveway. He's got a blood alcohol of working its way up from 0.21. And, oh, by the way, I do believe they're pretty close to the flagpole. I believe he guzzles that and he throws the glass onto the lawn. He's heavily intoxicated. He's not behaving as he normally would. He walks into the driveway. As per the police testimony, his shirt was smelled and reeked of vomit. He vomits on himself. He goes toward the door. Karen Reed sees him going toward the door. She really has no intent on going in. She doesn't want anything to do with this. She was messing around with Brian Higgins, and there's no way she wants to be in the house with Officer John O'Keefe and Higgins at the same time. John O'Keefe is suspecting there's something going on there as per the testimony and the text messages. So she pulls forward down to the fire hydrant. As per Matt McCabe sees her go well beyond the fire hydrant. He walks back to the road to go back to the house because he's just vomited all over his shirt. He gets to the mailbox, and as he's walking by the Jeep, his foot slips off the curbing and it binds between the Jeep's tire and the curb. He falls over, loosens up his shoe, and he's on the ground for 6 to 7 minutes. Meanwhile, Karen Reed is furious. She's driven down the road. She slams it in reverse, and she's going to give him one more opportunity. She wants to see if he's come out of the house. So she slams it in reverse. She backs up to the fire hydrant and stops at the fire hydrant. Now, for those that think that she goes beyond, she can't. The text stream data is in a straight line. The road is curved. If she went in a straight line, she would be in the center of the road. So she couldn't have. So the reverse had to take place all prior to the fire hydrant. I don't know which way the road goes, but she drove forward and then back and stops at the fire hydrant. At this point, John O'Keefe gets up, sees the tail lights down at the fire hydrant. He gets up and he starts walking to the fire hydrant. As he's walking to the fire hydrant, Karen Reed is driving away, and she gets back to his house and connects to the internet at 12:36. At 12:31 and 55 seconds, John O'Keefe makes it down to the fire hydrant. He pulls out his phone, fumbles with his phone, passes out falls over, catches his arm on the snow flag, falls down, strikes his elbow on the top of the fire hydrant, striking his head onto the fire hydrant, and falls down and succumbs to his injuries. Now we're going to do a quick roundup of what happened that morning. The next morning, Karen Reed, Jen McCabe, and Carrie Roberts arrive on the scene. Carrie Roberts goes to, as per her testimony, she goes to John O'Keefe's head and clears his face off, and Karen Reed lies on Officer John O'Keefe to warm him up. Officer Seraph pulls up in the police vehicle. Carrie Roberts, as seen in the video, waves to Officer Seraph. Officer Seraph pulls past the fire hydrant and gets out of his car, talks to them. The firefighters come, and the firefighters, to work on Officer John O'Keefe, because they can't work on him next to the fire hydrant, they move him to the left of the fire hydrant and put him on the backboard. They then walk around the flagpole and set him on the front lawn. This is a dark area. There's vehicles sitting there, so there's no light. They work on him on the front lawn, and they shine the spotlights onto the lawn where they work on him. As per firefighter Flamati, when asked by Alan Jackson, Alan Jackson asked the question when he was doing CPR, when they were doing CPR on Officer John O'Keefe by the flagpole, they asked him, is that where he was located? To that, firefighter Flamati says, to the left. Those aren't his exact words. So this is where he was moved. And in my last videos, I said that's where he fell. That is not correct. So, let me back up just a little bit. So during the night, when the plow comes by, let's back up just a smidge before the police. He leaves, whether he does the plow thing or not. He may do the plow thing. Brian Higgins might have put his plow down and pushed some of that stuff this way. There's a very possibility of that. But I believe he takes a 3-point turn and leaves. I believe he heads out the other way. And so then during the night, the plow comes, plows up the tail light, moves the sneaker down the road, and spreads the tail light over the lawn. And that's why you have pieces of tail light on Officer John O'Keefe. They're from the plow throwing it. Notice he had sand on him too, and that's why there's tail light pieces by the fire hydrant. This is a drawing of a photo, and this is the exact location where John O'Keefe was. It's perfectly visible, and you see in the photo the footprints going to the fire hydrant, and there's very few footprints because the firefighters, paramedics took John O'Keefe over here pretty quickly because they weren't there very long, and you can see the tracks going back through here and over here. And in the video where they're loading him up, you can see that they're coming forward to the stretcher. The stretcher is parked here, and they're coming forward to the stretcher. Remember, The stretcher is in front of Officer Sheriff's vehicle. So they were behind officers. You got to remember, Officer Sheriff, when he pulled up, he went by the fire hydrant. He went by the lady sitting, taking care of Officer John O'Keefe. And when they pulled up with the stretcher, they came from the direction of the flagpole. So that's the indication that he was moved. So that is what happened to Officer John O'Keefe. He simply was heavily intoxicated, and he fell between the Jeep and the curbing. He got up as he saw Karen Reed's taillights pulling away. He saw them and headed down the road to catch her, but she had already gone. He's standing next to the fire hydrant and took out his phone to call her to come back and pick him up. And he simply fell over, passed out. The alcohol that he had just consumed was now taking full effect. Perfect timing. There's that 10 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. It's taking full effect. His alcohol was a minimum at this time of 0.28. And I think I can demonstrate that it was actually 0.30. Those are very, very high numbers. All of the symptoms are there, the vomit, the aspiration, and it's not uncommon for people to fall when they're heavily intoxicated. Nothing nefarious happened. Karen Reed never even saw him walking toward the fire hydrant. The text stream data and the time all can verify that she was pulling away as he was taking those last 36 steps, 80 feet. The health data fits perfectly. Thanks for watching. I'm going to get this posted. Like and subscribe.